Let me see how my picture comes up. If it comes, see me?
Oh, I have some more guests in the lobby. Let's see. Levi's joining us now. There's 9+ on the camera and I don't have everyone showing, so can someone tell me if you see Gilbert? No, we don't see you yet, Gilbert.
I did turn on, but I didn't like the angle it was at, so I turned
Okay.
it off.
All right, you're fine. It is okay. So, Chairman Martinez, if you'd like, we can go ahead and get started.
Sure. Welcome, everybody. Now that we've met quorum, let's start the meeting. For the record, it is 11:03 a.m. So I'd like to start the meeting with item number 2. It's public comments. Do you have any members of the public that would like to address this group? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 3, review and approve the minutes for the meeting held on February 26, 2024.
It's been a while.
If there are no comments, I'll move to approve.
Second.
Gilbert,
Second. Was it Javier for a second?
I saw Gilbert.
Oh, Gilbert's all right. Thank you, Gilbert.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, motion passes. Item number 4, Texas Water Development Board updates.
Yes, and everyone, we have our new planner, Nick Collins from Texas Water Development Board. So Nick, we'll turn it over to you.
Welcome, Nick.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nicholas Collins. Just give a brief introduction to myself. I am a recent grad, and I've been with the Water Development Board since, I guess, 5-6 months from now, since 6 months ago, started in May. But I'm going to give you all the update. So on October 2nd, 2024, the flood planning team sent out communication via email regarding guidance for amending the 2023 RFPs. The TWDB has prepared additional guidance on developing amendments to the 2023 regional flood plans to best align with the 2026-2027 flood infrastructure fund cycle. So it makes sure that y'all take that very into consideration. That's a very big thing for a lot of people. The deadline for submitting amendments to the TWDB is April 1st, 2025. Please be sure to read through the guidance package carefully. The information is also posted on our TWDB flood planning website. And if anybody has any further questions, please feel free to email me. I can put my email in the chat, or if anyone wants to chat me or email me directly, it's nick.collins and then at twdb.texas.gov. Another update. Contract webinar kickoff is tomorrow, Friday, November 22nd, 2024. I believe it went out to all of the people that were already on our Rolodex. If anybody did not get that, please email me as well. And then further in the future, the payment request webinar will be coming up Thursday, January 9th, 2025. And that is it for my update.
Would you like us to go on to the next item then? That will be
I have a
number.
question, Annette.
I'm sorry, Sela. Yes.
Yeah. So Nick,
Yeah.
hi. You mentioned a deadline of April 1st, 2025. What was that?
April 1st, 2025 is for the 5th amendment. So this is the Flood Infrastructure Fund. The state realized that between the funding cycle was just too large, and this is a very important issue. So they've shoehorned this process into so any plans that you're wanting to, or any plans that you're wanting to put in for 5th cycle for 2026-2027 instead of waiting for 2027-2028, that's what this will be needed by. So the April 1st deadline is for submittal. Your tech consultant will be taken care of and being in charge of gathering solicitations.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we have within the existing budget money to be able to make these amendments?
Yes, so we will, that's going to be agenda item 7, where AECOM's going to lay out how we would like to propose the amendment process. And so we'll have further discussion on this topic.
Any other questions? Moving on to item number 5, discuss and take appropriate action on the current voting member vacancies.
Yes, so we, let's see, how shall I show this to you all?
We only have one vacancy on flood district?
We actually have, and I'm sorry, folks, let me go ahead and share my entire screen for you all.
Okay.
Okay, so as you all can see here, these are the members that we have that are voting, and it also has their term date. Dr. Shang, who's number 7, he did submit his resignation, so we do need to fill that spot. And then we still need to fill the electric generating utilities as well, so that needs to go out for consideration. And then I do need to check in with Mr. Tate, who's actually, he's not on here right now, but and I'm sorry, that was an oversight on our side, but Mr. Tate is representing the River Commission. He has not attended the meeting, so I need to verify with him if he's still interested in serving in the position. So what I would like to receive approval on is for me to go ahead and post the vacancies for agriculture interests as well as for electric generating utilities.
Do you need to do flood district also?
We do not have a flood district, so that one will stay open.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right.
Are there any questions for me with regard to this request?
We need a motion to approve that you do it?
Yes.
So move.
Okay.
Second.
And I have a second from
Sure,
Isela. Okay.
any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
And item number 6, discuss and take appropriate action on the proposed revisions to current bylaws.
Yes, and Board, I think what I will do right now is just highlight some of the items that I would like for us to consider, but perhaps it would be better served for us to assign this task to the executive committee to do more of a deeper dive, but I just wanted to show you all some things that we would possibly want to consider changing. And Nick, if I could ask for you as well, just in terms of your understanding of other planning groups, whenever there's a mention of initial, meaning that it was the first time that this was being created, as we revise the bylaws, can we take that kind of language out since it doesn't apply anymore, or does that need to stay?
If you're going to be revising it, that is something I'd have to check in with personally, just for the sake of argument. For right now, I would say strike through it and then just add whatever you're doing, just like any kind of legislation. But I will get back to you on if you need to remove the old language entirely.
Okay, and so I think at this point, I'm not comfortable asking for the group to allow the proposed revisions that I'm proposing. I think it probably would be, again, better served with the executive committee, but I just wanted to let you all know that there are some things that we can be changed. So for instance, under the, when we go to the top, when it talks about terms, it's talking about the terms of the initial members, and then we go to those thereafter, and they're having like a like up to 5-year terms. So I was going to be asking if we can go ahead and change this to where it's for 3 years. For each member is going to be 3 years rather than having it for a 5-year term. So those are the kinds of things that I'm going to be asking for. And as you can see, as I'm scrolling, I'm just asking for the necessity in terms of the language, because again, it was initial. And now that we are fully fledged and we're going into the second cycle, some of these things do not pertain anymore. But one thing I do want to highlight, which was brought up to me, and I'll see if I can do a control find. For our non-voting members, there is a provision where you all are allowed to ask for discretionary members to be part of the planning group. And I know there has been interest from TxDOT to serve as a non-voting member. And so what we could do right now is that it's part of the bylaws. We don't have to change anything because that's an allowance that's already there. But if you all would just task staff to go ahead and prepare the letter for the chair to send out the request to TxDOT for a non-voting member to also start attending our meetings. That's something that I would like for you to give staff direction on. And I'm sorry that I'm taking a little while to get there. Let's see. Did you find it before?
It was section 2, I think, that you were talking about.
Well, the non-voting is,
Oh, non-voting, okay. Section 1, mandatory member.
it's, yeah, what page is that?
6 out of 16.
6 out of 16, okay. So are there any, with regard to the non-voting members, would there be any possible consideration that you all think other non-voting members would be interested in attending and serving as an advisory capacity to the group?
So on section 2, you talk about discretionary members that are also non-voting. I think it might make sense to just have an open invitation from every municipality so that we have a slot. So did we know that Alpine is participating? Because there's a representation from the municipality itself. And they don't have to come every time, they don't have to vote, but at least they're added onto our roster of contacts.
Okay, but so would that fall under the non-voting members?
Yeah, section 2 discretionary members is what I'm thinking, what I was thinking.
Okay.
And the reason I bring it up is because we have, for example, a lot of staff at the city of El Paso are, this is page 7, our floodplain administrators group and planning team and capital improvements team that would make sense to learn about this process. And we want to find a slot for them without going through the whole administrative burden of like posting them and public notices and all that. I just think that we need a formal spot for them. And then once there's a lot of transition with city staff, and once somebody transitions, for example, it's very easy for us to realize that we need to request another member. I'm assuming that other municipalities might be in the same case where they need this one person appointed.
Okay, so then, so that's the direction you would want to give staff to start working on that. And then do we want to, just according to the bylaws, do we want to do that official invite to TxDOT, or it'll just be like this for everyone moving?
No, let's do an official invite to TxDOT there.
Okay. Okay, so then, so if it's okay with everyone, then I'll work with the chair to ensure that we have the invite to all of the organizations who will have that interest in flood planning. And then on the agenda item, the way that it's read, it's to discuss and take appropriate action on the proposed revisions to the current bylaws. So we don't have to take any action. We'll just, at the direction of staff, I'll just set up an executive committee meeting. So that way we can present all of the changes at the next meeting that we have. Is that all right?
I hate to ask, but who's on the executive committee for flood planning?
So it's Omar and it's you
Okay,
and Javier.
okay.
Mhm.
Is anybody else interested in participating in that?
Can we nominate Gisela to join us in that one? I don't want to put you in an extra meeting, but there's a lot of
There's a lot.
issues that she deals with that I think we need to address through those invites.
Yeah, I'm interested in it as well. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Okay. All right, and then, okay, so then that will take care of that agenda item. And we can go on to 7 with AECom if you'd like.
Okay, agenda item number 7, discuss and take appropriate action on the 2023 regional flood plan amendment that is due April 1st, 2025 to include additional flood mitigation projects. Gilbert and team, all yours.
And Gilbert, did you
All
want to take over the screen or did you want me to?
Yes, if we can take over the screen, please.
Yes.
Travis, if you can share your screen. And there we go. We got it. Thank you. Good morning, Annette. Omar, David, and the rest of the flood planning group and guests. Today we're going to cover the second cycle here of the regional flood plans. So what we're going to discuss today are just general RFP updates. We're also going to look at discussion of the 2023 regional flood plan amendment. That's agenda item number 7. We're going to discuss the FMEs that we want to perform as part of the cycle 2 of this RFP. And then we're also going to have a vote to approve the FME prioritization that we're going to talk about today. Next screen. Next one. These are just, I know there's a lot of dates up here, but there's a lot of critical dates that we need to meet. I mean, this regional flood plan always has, critical dates that we have to meet, but Nick pointed out the first one is April 1st. That's going to be the second amendment to the regional flood plan, the original plan that we did in 2023. September 19th, we're going to have the TM due. November 25th, we're going to have the notice of acceptable amendment. January 26th, list of FMEs to be performed. In the summer fall of 2026, we're going to 24 state flood plan now. And before February 26th, we want to have the third regional flood plan amendment on there. The dates, January 10th, 2028 is going to be when they adopt and when we adopt and submit it to the Texas Water Development Board. And our particular contract will expire in July. So the other meetings we have on the right here is meetings that we're suggesting, forecasted meetings. As you all know, April 1st is coming upon us real quick, and there's a lot of work to be done. So we're kind of proposing to have another meeting either the week of December 5th or the 12th. Let us know if that works with the planning group. And then from there on out, we want to have, a couple of meetings before we have that first amendment there. And then moving forward, we can work on the rest of those meetings. These are just recommended meetings, guys, but we do have to have a meeting in December, I think, in order for us to continue and gain some momentum working on the plan here. Nick, you have a question? And you're on mute.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I will say that Region 6 also had a meeting every month for 3 months straight, just to get some of this fifth stuff taken care of. Also trying to get some of the seats filled. So if y'all do, as your TWDB representative, I would recommend that happen. But like I said, this is a recommendation, not a decree. So up to y'all to do that.
Okay. Is it just me, or are you breaking up for everybody?
Yeah, Nick, it's kind of you're coming out choppy, so I'm not sure.
We can understand what you're saying, but it's a little broken.
Sorry about that, y'all.
Okay.
Do we want to pick December 5th or December 12th right now?
I think Omar and I should selflessly ask for the 12th because we have an event out of town on the 5th.
Okay, so we want to meet on Thursday, the 12th?
Yes, but Jeff is out of town. He just put that in. I'm sorry, Jeff. Jeff, is there another day that's that week that you're available? You're on mute.
There's some time on the 11th. I have 3 meetings on that day, but we can squeeze this one in.
What's another one? AECOM, would that be a difficult task to make it on the 11th of December?
As far as I'm concerned, not for me. I think we can make the time. It's a meeting we have to have. So the important thing is having the quorum there to be able to have the meeting in that. So we'll make everything possible we'll make the meeting.
Okay, I'll go ahead and Gisela, what are you thinking?
Yeah, so I have board meeting on the 11th. So that's a little bit hard for me. How about the 10th?
Is that city council?
Oh,
I'm in San Antonio for a doctor's appointment. Sorry.
okay.
I'll
What
do
did you
this.
send a doodle pro?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and send out a poll for the 10th, the 11th, and 12th, and we'll see who we get majority. if that's
I
okay?
mean,
Do you want to check the week of the 5th too?
No, we'll be out of town. I
For the
mean,
whole week?
Yeah,
The whole week is gone. Okay, so no days on the 5th, the week of the 5th.
that would be a hard
I-
time.
How
I
about the
just
week
think
of the
we need to find a
16th?
date that we have quorum. I mean, as long as we can meet the quorum, Annette.
What about
Okay,
the
then-
week of the 16th?
Monday would be nice. Tuesday.
Yeah. My whole
Thursday.
mornings are open on that week. I'm not sure about the rest.
I will send out a poll for the week of the 16th.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And everyone, if I can just say that, oh, I see Levi, I see your thumbs up, Levi. I just wanted to apologize. We are under the gun, but it's not because of AECom. It's because of Rio Grande. This is not something new that we just found out about with the FIP. So I apologize that we didn't get started on this process earlier.
Thank you, Annette.
Yes, it was not
So-
you.
So we're going to look at the week of the 16th?
Yes.
Okay.
So with that being said, I mean, I guess the important thing is we need to have, I think, monthly meetings and maybe even bi-weekly meetings as we get closer to submit this this amendment in April. We got to realize that we have to vote we have to vote on it, we have to submit it. There's a lot of things that need to happen. So the more flexible that the flood planning group is the better in these first couple of months.
You got us used to that last year, Gilbert.
I know, and we wanted to avoid that this year, but
That's all right.
Murphy's.
It works.
All righty, then we'll send the doodle poll out there, Annette,
Yes.
and then we can continue on. Go ahead, Travis, next. And with this, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Travis. He's gonna go ahead and cover the information from agenda item 7 here.
Let me ask you a question. Just
Yes, sir.
to try to avoid conflicts, would it be useful to take a look at January and February and maybe send a poll out so people can go ahead and put dates on their calendar
I will do
for
that.
You know what,
January
Dave?
and February and just get it done at the same time?
And March as well.
Okay. Yeah, I saw you put March 13th down there as a suggestion, but
Yeah, I mean, these are just suggestions.
maybe second week in January and second week in February and, or something like that and just get
Yes.
started
I will do that.
so we can kind of get calendars locked in and not have conflicts.
Yes, sir.
I agree with that, Dave. Let's do that.
Okay, that's about the only way to have lots of meetings and not end up with a bunch of conflicts.
I will do that.
Okay. So you're going to go all the way through March?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, good.
Okay, Travis, you're good.
Okay, so this is the discussion of the 2023 Regional Flood Plan Amendment. So on this, the main thing we're looking here is if we want to add any new FMEs, FMSs, FMPs. Now, we, in the previous amendment, through a miscommunication repeatedly on our side and with TWDB, the Region 14 FMSs were not ranked. They were submitted, but we missed a table and misunderstood the purpose of it, so they were not ranked. So we will be submitting these FMSs with this amendment to get them ranked. We have already, gone through the process of, fixing the issues that we have, but we're, have to submit this with an amendment. So we're going to be including these. There's no additional work required on this part. The next is we want to look at preliminary engineering for Alpine, Pecos, Presidio, and Marfa. So these sponsors have FMPs are already included in the plan, but there are some complications with getting engineering feasibility reports and some documentation on what these FMPs would be a little more detailed. So we would like to reach out to them and see if they're interested in pursuing any of these FMPs and getting these preliminary engineering projects included in the plan as FMEs. So on the right, we have the earlier Exhibit C technical guidelines. This is from the previous cycle. They have not released an update to Exhibit C at this time. And so I wanted to draw your attention down to the table on the bottom where it lists flood management evaluation eligible projects. And on here we have engineering project planning, so that's feasibility assessments and preliminary engineering. And these would be used and required to submit FMPs for grant work. So when you want to submit something with the FIF, you're going to need some of this, preliminary engineering as part of this. So our plan is to reach out to these sponsors and see if they want to pursue this and get them added.
And that would be obviously with the approval of the regional flood planning group, if you all are in agreement.
One question, at what point are newcomers or new projects from existing municipalities able to come in? And with recommendations on preliminary engineering and additions to FMPs?
You know what, Omar, I think that would be on the next submittal, since we have such a tight window right now to get all this stuff approved, and we still need to reach out to some people that we have a lot of information on these already, so we want to pursue these and move them further along. So on the next amendment, which would be on the next portion of it, after we submit this one, we can start including some other new projects from newcomers in there.
Just to be clear, so then I should go back to city leadership and be like, hey, we can't submit for the next 2 years because would that be the accurate? Like we can't request AECOM's service as part of the scope of work because there's not enough time for us to go through the process. So no submissions for the next 2 years.
That would be the point right now, Omar.
Okay.
Did we be doing it under this amendment? Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
But moving forward after that, we'd be happy to go over that and include anybody else. Sorry about that, Travis. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. So these are some additional municipalities to contact who we've had previous contact with, but didn't get stuff included for a variety of reasons, timing, schedules, budgets. But these are like priorities with the structures based on them. So, City of El Paso, Pecos, and a lot of these, areas and municipalities that have a lot of structures at risk in them. We've previously had good relationships with and had, successful projects. El Paso Water, El Paso County, as an example. And so we'd like to have permission to reach out to these additional municipalities to see about getting, things added, get their input on how they want to pursue this. So we have a couple slides detailing these areas. So this
Brad,
is Socorro.
just a question. Is this all based on the most recent FEMA data?
This is based on the previous regional flood plan.
Yeah, but those numbers of structures that are vulnerable, was that all based on it's on the old FEMA data, not the new FEMA data?
We have not gone through the process of making any updates to these maps since we submitted in 2023.
Okay, so that most,
Do you want water?
go ahead.
So the basis of this is, as part of the last plan, the state put together a flood map for the entire state. That's a hybrid of where they had detailed studies and where they had no studies and everything in between. And that flood map for the whole state, so everybody was on the same sheet of music, was developed the same way for all the regions. And it was done a couple of years before it was submitted. And these structures are all based upon that flood quilt.
Okay. I'm just wondering, because for El Paso City, for example, the new FEMA data changes a lot of the floodplain information within this area, so including literally where I live. So I just had to ask that. I don't know how that's integrated or would be integrated.
To add on to what it was said, politically, locally, flood determinations are a big deal right now with our city council. And so I feel like we're gonna get a lot of comments, pushback on some of the projects that were not included, in particular within the city center proper. I know that El Paso Water's priorities were definitely in there, but there's some like infill priorities on central El Paso where we really have very little strategies planned out for. Those are the kinds of last minute addition that I'd like for us to at least consider to make sure that we at least check that mark before, as we move forward in the planning process and then we engage elected officials and the public, they're definitely going to bring up that there's just been changes from the last plan and we need to start addressing it now. So if we can go back and say that, yes, one of our new strategies is to look into this again, and we're trying to squeeze in just the planning document that allows us to take a second look using applying for FIF funding. I think that would give us the time we need politically to be able to just be ready for the next round. But at this point, I would ask that we include a strategy sponsored by the city of El Paso that would allow us to apply for planning funds on City Central. This is District 2. It became a topic of interest during the recent elections, and it will continue to do so. And so I'm really trying to get ahead out of this.
I agree.
Okay.
Are those projects that are ready enough to get submitted as part of this amendment to get ranked? I mean, is that the solution to that, is making sure those projects that have enough information for them can get submitted as part of this amendment and get ranked? Because I think that's what this FMS amendment is.
Yeah, the
Leading,
the FMS amendment, Levi, is those projects were in those strategies were in the plan. But it just so happened there was a disconnect between us and the Water Development Board on a certain column that we interpreted it one way, and they came back and said, no, that wasn't right. So we're going to be able to submit those. That error has been corrected already. So all those FMSs will be a part of this amendment and will get ranked, if that's what you were asking.
Correct, yes. But I think to Omar's point, there might have been some projects that might have been overlooked that are politically hot topics. And I don't know if those coincide with this list of FMSs to submit as part of this amendment.
We're looking at the list right now, Levi.
Okay.
And Omar, take a look at it right now. See if there's any of those hot topics on there right now that was brought up.
The closest thing I can find is a 017, which is conveying into the Rio Grande. But that is the closest one. What we're looking for is City Central, a little bit of downtown, where there's a lot of it is just ponding issues historically that are just coming up again and again and again. It came up in a recent council item where there's a developer that wants to build housing, but the costs to mitigate some of the stormwater, they thought they wanted to get an incentive out of it, and so it became a thing. So what I'm hoping for is maybe a new item, and all we want to be able to say is that if the city of El Paso decides to, we can apply for, at least at a study level, a detailed study or engineering design for these projects that are gonna come up before 2027. It's just the ability to apply is what we're looking for. We can keep it as simple as possible, but this then gives us the head start we're gonna need. I don't know when the next round of amendments are allowed. I know that the date is to be determined from what I last read, but I think it's gonna be a hot topic coming up in January.
So Omar, I think if it's the pleasure of the flood planning group that they do want to pursue that, we can basically look at that and get it in there. So we're basically at the direction of the flood planning group. If that's one of the items that you all want to include, to include it as an FMS, I think we can do that.
Please, I would appreciate it if, I don't know, do you need a vote for it or what would be needed to be able to execute something like this if you all are in support?
I think what we do is when we vote for all the information that you guys are going to give us the go ahead, we can amend that to include whatever strategies that you were looking at, Omar.
Thank you.
I do know that Jeff Bennett had mentioned a project that they were doing, so I just wanted to, did you want to mention that what you put in the chat, Jeff?
I just noticed that the regional watershed studies, if somebody could reach out to me, I could fill them in on some stream restoration and flood attenuation projects we have going on above Marfa and above Alpine.
Yeah, I'll make a note of that, Jeff.
Yes, definitely, Jeff.
There's also a large EPA grant that's headed for Presidio to develop some detention basins and some flood routing to include some natural benefit and bike paths and things like that as well. So that's a brand new announcement. So that's someone could probably reach out to me about that as well.
Okay, definitely.
Gilbert, do you need the group here to vote on something to enable you to do what we talked about?
Yes, but that's going to come after. Let us finish the presentation, Dave, and let you what we want to do as part of this amendment that's going to be submitted in April, and therefore we can amend however y'all want to do it when we call for the vote there.
Okay, if you'll make sure you bring it up then. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Just gonna quickly go through these slides here. These show some of the additional municipalities that we had discussed. Some of the previous flood impacts that they were exposed there. So this is Socorro, Ozona, Kermit, Southwest Sandhill CDP, Sonora, Canutillo, Presidio, San Elizario, and Hudspeth County. Hudspeth County was previously engaged, but they had fallen off towards the end, and so we were interested to see if they had anything they wanted to bring up. The next is a discussion of FMEs to be formed as part of RFP Cycle 2. So these are a list of current FMEs on here.
Okay.
This list will be amended by anything we include in the amendment going out April 1st. So on April 1st, we'll have the chance to add projects to this. The current budget allows a certain amount of money to perform these projects. Currently, the ones in green are the ones that have already been submitted for grant funding. And so on the right, you'll see the state rankings. Now, these are going through TWDB's ranking system based on the information that we provide here. They are provided a rank, and as the fifth cycle rolls out, TWDB will then invite people to apply based on this ranking, and funding will generally follow these rankings. However, there is budget in this cycle to perform FMEs. Now, it doesn't say you have to follow TWDB ranking, state rankings. So if there are other FMEs that the council would like to pursue, for whatever reason, for whatever ranking priorities or investigations or smaller communities, it's up to their discretion to say, hey, we want to pursue these. But these are going to be, a list of what comes out. I'm going to tab back to this. This is due by January 6th, 2026. So this isn't a, hey, we have to do this now, but the earlier we can get started on this, it's good, and it's the next big deadline coming up. And so here's where we would say discussion of how we want to include this.
So we're through item agenda 8 and into item agenda 9, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. This is where you can make your amendment in addition to what we're doing here, Dave, on what else you all would like us to do.
Okay. That needs to probably be stated for a motion.
So,
And I want to make sure it gets stated correctly, so.
so if I can make a recommendation, it would be to approve the flood management evaluation prioritization as presented by AECOM to be submitted to the state prioritization process with the following amendments. And then it would be addition of, at least on our behalf, addition of one FME outlining city infill projects. I don't know how to word it properly, but just give the city's planning team an opportunity to identify a couple of their priority areas and do whatever is needed to be able to make that a fundable submission for just planning and design, not so much implementation at this stage. However you all want to wordsmith it, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm gonna
That's-
go back to the original discussion topic here that shows wording here. So I think that might be useful.
So with the following amendments, allowing the city of El Paso to recommend an FME focusing on watershed planning, engineering planning, and other studies on flood preparedness that the city considers a priority that is not currently listed in the plan.
Does that sound like reasonable language?
I think it does. Nick, what do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, I'll second.
First and second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please indicate so by saying aye.
So
I,
can I, this is,
Wait,
it.
Sal has a
Before you
hand up.
guys, and sorry, Omar, I think
Aye.
we need to bring up, I don't know if Jeff wanted to add some of those on there too as well. Bennett?
I just wanted to make sure that we're not voting 3 times for something we're trying to. So aren't we trying at this point to create the scope of work for the April 1st submittal?
Yes.
So it's not just this one thing we're adding, it's also the other bits, right?
Mhm.
So
Yes.
so we need to basically include in this thing, unless you want already, so you've already voted on the added one, but we have to go back and vote on the ones that we proposed as part of the presentation, right?
Well, I think Jeff, in
Well-
Omar's presentation, he had said that to approve the,
Yes.
the projects as presented, including an amendment to that, which is the El Paso projects.
He did.
All right, are we clear on what was presented that we're voting on? That's all. I'm not sure. I mean, what are we saying? Which slides are they saying? Which FMEs are we? What exactly is the scope of work? I understand what Omar said is added. I'm not sure we've clearly presented what it is we were saying they were voting on, right?
Was it the 3 green?
It was-
Let me pull this up.
Under the current FMEs, there were 3 highlighted in green.
So these are the 3 FMEs
All right.
that were already submitted.
That's-
This is something else. This isn't stuff to be added to the current plan. This is stuff that is already in the plan that could be performed by the budget in the cycle 2 and not have to go through the submittal to TWDB for FIF funding.
Right. So this
So-
is not what we're voting on.
No,
We just
this
voted
is-
on.
No, okay.
It's that slide with the FMEs that don't require additional work. Preliminary.
It's the
list-
FMSs.
Yeah. the list of preliminary engineering for cities, for FMPs, for Alpine Peak, Pecos, Presidio, and Marfa that you all listed.
Yep.
Yes.
And then the instruction to contact municipalities for any new additions, but not working them to include them in. But you're gonna make a concerted effort to contact the municipalities. And that was how I interpreted it.
Yes, we did the FMSs, the authority to be able to contact these additional municipalities. And then what's the other one, Travis? This one for the, for these
Yeah.
FMPs to get them further work to be able to get a higher ranking in the 5th there.
There's 4 bits that we're dealing with.
Yes.
That's your vote. Sorry for interrupting.
Is that clear now, guys, or?
Did we include Jeff or no? Okay.
Jeff, is what you need done included within this
No,
item?
Okay, so we're not including.
So then semicolon, and then whatever Jeff proposes on his
feedback.
feedback.
Jeff
So
Matthews.
yes to the ACOM list and proposed scope of work at the city of El Paso part from the planning department, and then whatever Jeff.
It's included in the proposed projects from Jeff.
So we need to amend the motion that we made that got approved
Yes.
to include Jeff's information.
Okay.
All right, and I'll make a motion that amendment occur to include Jeff's information.
And Jeff,
You got
we'll
some-
talk offline so we can meet with you on that.
that was
We need
really
some-
all I wanted. That was.
We
really
need somebody,
what-
I'll
you
second.
want a sec? There we go, okay.
Who was the second?
Who was the second?
Levi?
Levi. Thank you, Levi.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate so by saying aye.
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 Anybody
Aye.
opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you all, appreciate it.
After all that.
Interesting process. Now all somebody's got to do is figure out what language goes on the paper.
That would be me.
We're recording, right?
Yes.
You'll synthesize it?
Yes. And it'll be completely different. Okay.
And then when you have a final language, can you send it to me?
Yes.
I do need.
Before
That
we-
was-
report that.
yes.
That was 9, so I think
I think we are done.
Well,
we already talked about future meetings and that wasn't on the agenda, but.
well, I apologize, folks, if I may ask for clarification. I thought that this motion was pertaining to 7.
You were right.
So I don't think we've done a motion for.
Well,
That's just me.
effectively, what they did was they integrated 7, 8, and 9.
Okay,
So they continued right from 7 through 8 into 9.
okay, so I'm just gonna
So
have.
they
no
were all done
action
at the
on-
same time.
So no action on 9, because the 7's taken care of. Are we in agreement with that, AECom?
If you guys are agreeing for us to do these on the second portion, which is after April 1st, then these are the FMEs we were talking about, this list right here.
So from my understanding, the vote was on adding the FMSs, the preliminary engineering, the FME for the city, and the stream restoration projects for Alpine and Marfa, with the help of Jeff Bennett. That is one, and then the current FMEs, which are due
In 2026,
January
right?
26th. So those FMEs could potentially be like the FMEs for the city and for Alpine and Marfa, and the preliminary engineering could be included in this list to be submitted by 2026. So this is an upcoming thing. We can continue with this, or we can wait till we get those submitted as part of the amendment.
Travis and Gilbert, my preference is to give you the authority to vote right now. And if we need to
Okay.
come back and amend it, then we can. But this way, where the group is not the holdup.
Can we
Okay.
go ahead and make a motion and vote on the FMEs?
That'll be a separate voting item. If it's fine, if we
Yes.
can do that.
Mhm.
So these FMEs are due January 26, 2026, right? We're talking
Yes,
about
ma'am.
a year from now.
Yes.
Correct.
And then would you mind, Travis, showing again the list that you had for consideration of the FMEs? And it'd be all of these that you're presenting on the screen.
And then plus City plus Jeff.
So we're just duplicating.
I no, I think the list is no. Hold on. I am. Can you help me clarify, Gilbert?
I think what we're gonna do is gonna be an FMS for the city of El Paso and for the, what is it, Marfa and the stream restorations for Jeff Bennett. Those will be for the April 1st. And those are gonna be FMSs.
And
Those
these
will
are
be strategies to where you all can apply for funding, Omar and Jeff. And that'll be the first, that was part of the first vote that you guys took. The second vote is gonna vote on the current FMEs in here to get them worked up.
Got it. And if should there be a project that eventually gets ready, we can always amend this.
Exactly.
This-
We can
got
always,
it.
as we move along the process, we can amend stuff or take stuff out as necessary.
Got it. I'm okay with that.
Gilbert, do we want to
Yes.
call, I'm not sure they have to be FMSs. I think FMEs might be better for some of what
Yeah.
Omar wants to do. Yeah.
Okay.
I would agree. FMEs.
But those FMEs, the point, Jeff, is gonna be covered in the April 1st amendment.
Yes.
That we're looking at, the FMEs. And then these FMEs right now, these current ones are gonna be a separate vote to be turned in
So
by
it needs a
January
separate vote, these
2026.
FMEs. Okay.
Okay, so
And knowing full well that the ones that are highlighted in green right now have gone through the process of them submitting an abridged application. So if Water Development Board selects them, they will be in line to submit the application and get the grant funding as necessary for those particular FMEs there.
awesome.
And a question I have, Nick, for you is, do you know where they stand on the funding right now, these abridged applications that were submitted?
I do not know. I can get back to you if you want to give me your email. I'd be more than happy to get back to you with that information.
Yeah, I think Sarah Sopolinski, is that right? Is a point of contact for that?
Are you referring to the RFPG or are you talking about with TWDB?
I'm talking about TWDB
I
on your
do
all's
not
end
know.
for the 5th.
I do not
Okay.
know Sarah Soplinsky, unfortunately.
Okay, well, I'll send you an email, CC her, and then we'll get it, see where they at on the process. I know these applications were submitted in April, so we're already November, and I'm thinking invitations should be going out to the entities that qualify for the funding.
So
I was
pe-
told that the invitations were gonna be sent out sometime in the spring.
Oh, they're gonna be in the spring now?
That's what I heard.
Okay.
So
Thank you,
Gilbert,
Gisela.
you need a motion to approve the current FMEs?
Yes, that'll be a separate motion, and then from there, if we have to amend or change it, we'll move along in the meetings.
Okay, I'll also move to accept the current FMEs as listed on this slide.
Second.
Any further discussion?
FME is highlighted in green on the slide.
What'd you say, Jeff?
Be clear, it's not all the FMEs on the slide. It's
Right.
the FME highlighted in green on the slide.
Okay,
Yes.
three. Yes, the three green highlighted in the screen.
No.
I thought it was all of them.
No, all the other ones, it's all of them, Jeff. The ones in green have already been submitted for funding.
So it is all of them, all the ones you're authorizing doing all these FMEs during the second. All right.
Yes, sir.
Great.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good.
So we've got a motion and a second to accept all of them.
So no further discussion. All in favor, please indicate so by saying aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Is there any information on, I noticed that they've got a state ranking on there. Is there any feedback on how many of these things are going to be funded at the state level?
There's,
I mean, is
they've
it
got a certain
possible that
amount of money.
that there'll be 100 or something, so all three of these might be picked up?
It all depends on the project sizes. My understanding is each project has a certain limit that'll get funded by the 5th. So, and it all depends what entities are ready. So I couldn't tell you how many they're looking at funding, Dave. I could take a guess for you, but I'll make some calls and get you some further information on that.
Okay, I'm just wondering what the probability is of us getting any of them.
Well, I can tell you from the first round of the 5th, and correct me if I'm wrong, Gisela, but you guys had a project that was ranked like 100 and something, and or even worse than that, and they ended up getting funding. And the county of El Paso had projects that ranked between 80 to 100 and something, and they got 3 projects ranked. So it all depends on who's ready to go, Dave, and if the funding is there.
That's why, okay, I understand. That's why I was kind of asking about the funding. Okay, all right.
Hey, and Gilbert, can you, whenever you all have a chance, put a list of projects that this region, through this floodplain process, have received funding?
Yes, definitely.
The only way I see it is like through TWDB publications or whenever like the county posts something. But it'd be great to highlight, just to have them.
What we can do is highlight the projects that have been funded already through the first round. And we can also highlight the projects. I can tell you on this next round of the 5th, there's 9 projects that went in. There was 5 FMPs and 3 FMEs, if I'm not mistaken. Travis, is that correct?
I would have to confirm for specifics, but that sounds accurate.
Yeah, it was about 5 FMPs we submitted and 3 FMEs that went in for this round of the 5th funding. But we'll put a list together and present it next.
Please.
I think it's really useful to have that to provide to the region so they can see what successes are occurring as a result of what we're doing.
Yes.
If you don't see success, you're not going to be willing to participate.
Exactly. And that's the thing we need to get across to everybody. You know, all these little smaller communities don't understand that they qualify for a lot of grant funding in this. They think they have to put in an absorbent amount of money, but isn't really the case. So, you know, we just need to talk to them and keep reaching out to these different communities to work with us.
Well, I think Vinton will be one that's going to be on track for the next cycle to make sure that they're included, and I'll make sure that I make inroads with Alpine as well. They have been working quite a bit on their water and wastewater, and I know Jeff might be able to answer to that better than me, but I'll check in with them as well.
And then that's good. And like you said, Vinton's been on top of stuff, so they're moving forward and trying to be a lot more proactive on there. That's what we want all the other municipalities and communities to be, so we can better serve everybody with this money that's out there. But with that being said, I want to thank you all. I appreciate your time and looking forward to continue working with you all.
In the project spreadsheet.
Likewise.
Okay.
That's
Thank
good
you.
timing for Giselle, I think.
Yeah, she's just.
Yep.
We need a motion to adjourn, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So moved.
Okay, Jeff Bennett.
Second.
All right.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate so by saying aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.
Good timing for.
Thank you
Thank
guys.
you,
Happy
everyone.
Thanksgiving. We'll see you in a month.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you.
Back in the saddle. Bye.